Hello, everybody, and welcome. We have a very special day today. Today is the day when we celebrate when Routefinder PLUS turns 2, and we're having our second birthday party for this amazing child of ours. We treat our products like they're like children of ours, aren't they, Tony? So, who has parties for products? Well, Transfinder does. Who gives out presents for those showing up to their own birthday party? Transfinder does. So I'll get into more detail about that in a moment, but I just want you to know we're going to cover a lot of ground today. We have a lot of information about where we've been, where we're going, and we also have real live clients who are going to share their stories. Some that were brand new to Routefinder. They didn't have Routefinder Pro. They went right to Plus. Others went from Pro to Plus. They're going to share a little bit about their stories. We have a lot to share. We have a lot of giveaways. But first, I'm going to turn it over to Transfinder President and CEO Antonio Civitella. Give it up for Tony.
All right, and let me get my video back on because I turned off my video, which is not that important. It's okay. Got some cake ready behind me here. I got a bottle of champagne. I'm not sure if it's just fruit punch or not, but it's a bottle. Looks great. We are celebrating the terrific twos. This is the terrific twos, and yes, just because the product has been out for 2 years, many of you out there know that we've been talking about this product for at least 5 years before then. So it's almost like 7 years old. Could we say it's about 7? I mean, is there like what's 7? Like the spectacular 7? I don't even know. Stupendous. I love it. A lot going on. But listen, we are celebrating Plus, but I think the entire group understands that it's not just about the product called Plus. It's really a platform. We're going to be talking a little bit about what we've done just the past 12 months. We could obviously spend a full day on just what we've done just with Plus the past 12 months, but we'll touch a little bit about the other products. But really, we are an all-in-one company. It's not just a routing system that we have. Obviously, we celebrate because without Plus, we don't have the other pieces. So we're excited about this. We're can't wait to hear after this event what you're thinking about it, and you're gonna hear about it. Might as well hear it now. This Saturday, we're making another massive update. It's Plus 3.0, massive, one of our biggest upgrade since 1.0. Of course, 2.0, we're all like, holy cow, can you add more stuff? And we did it again. 3.0 again. When you talk about what does that mean, it's not just Plus, but it's all the other products that are now part of Plus, and it's getting bigger and bigger. I'm super pumped about today. We're all dressed, got the gear, we got the champagne ready to pop, but it doesn't end today. That's what I know. We continue. We obviously look forward to the next milestone. There's always going to be new updates, and remember, the updates are based on what you are looking for. What are the needs? We are here to solve problems. I hate to say the word problem, but that's what it is. We're a solution provider, but we don't just make these cool looking features. It's got to hit the mark. What are the things we're solving? And that's what we do here. So we want to always hear those three things: the good, the bad, and ugly. Rick, by the way, that movie was on this weekend, and my son Alessio didn't even know it was actually a movie. He didn't know that. Those are called the spaghetti western, I think.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys know about this, a spaghetti western. And like Leslie's like, what? There's actually a movie. Yes. Is this where you get it? Because he's heard me say the good, the bad, and ugly so many times. And he's like, well, who's that? Who's the good? Who's the bad? Who's ugly? And honestly, I didn't know. I knew Clint Eastwood is definitely the good, but who's the other two? I didn't know. I had actually, thank you for Wikipedia. But joking aside, we need to know the good, the bad, and ugly. That's how we grow. That's how we celebrate another birthday. So please keep that coming. We're super excited. So we have a big show here. Again, we have clients talking about how they're using it, why they're using it, and why us. And Rick, let's make this happen. Let's go.
I'm excited. I'm very excited. Before we get started in the nitty gritty, before we have our very first testimony from clients, I want to just give you a little bit of housekeeping. If you have any questions, any comments you want to make during this webinar, please use the Q&A feature. That's critical. So please use that Q&A feature. And I want to thank the panelists we have here. We have Larry Eccleston and Stephanie Holes, both from Corning Painted Post Area School District in New York. We have Ginger Cornett. She is with Clarkston School District in Washington. So we literally go coast to coast. And then heading down south, we have Butch Sargent, who is the Director of Operations at Jasper City Schools in Alabama. And his story actually is out there online at STN, so you can also read that story. It's a great one. Some other housekeeping things. I want you to know that the first 30 people who registered, we acknowledged that we were going to give you guys a gift card for showing up. You registered and you actually showed up, so that's great. Stay to the very end because there's going to be other prizes, including a random drawing for an Apple Watch. That is going to be huge. It's at the very, very end of that. And John here is shaking the watch to prove that we do, in fact, have that watch. And also make sure you have your phones ready because Tony loves QR codes. It's his thing. So, and it's our thing too, by the way. So we will have some QR code stuff that if you act fast when it comes on your screen, you can respond to some surveys, but also win something as well. I don't know if you guys remember the Super Bowl, that one QR code commercial. Well, I'm like up by the screen and trying to follow it. We're not going to make you guys do that. It's going to be static, so you can just but you want to have your phones handy. So without further ado, I want to bring on Larry and Stephanie, have them share with us a little bit about their story, their Routefinder Plus story. So thanks so much for joining us. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing good.
Excellent.
Great, great. Well, Stephanie, for just starters, when I talked to you the other day, you talked about, I wish we had this a long time ago.
Absolutely.
Tell me why.
The right-click menu, the RCM, like Tony calls it, it's just made everything much more streamlined. You can be literally anywhere in the program and you can right-click and get to what you need almost instantaneously.
So do you use that all the time?
It's pretty much the one and only thing that I use.
That's great.
Doesn't matter if I'm in the routing map, doesn't matter if I'm in a grid. It's highlight what it is that I want and then click the right menu and I've got it.
I kind of think of it like when Steve Jobs created the iPod and he said all the engineers wanted to put lots of buttons on, and he goes, okay, but I want one home button to get to everything else. I think that's the genius behind the right click menu, right, Tony?
It really is. And I think the feedback was, listen, a great product is still out there. We're still supporting. A lot of our clients are still using it. It's Routefinder Pro. Our biggest feedback we got that how do we make it easier as we move to the browser? Again, it's like I've been saying 7 years at this point, right? People had to memorize those little icons, little buttons, and they're cute. We all knew what they were. Like, come on, Rick, you know what that is? That's the kid's got the code on, means it's your sign to the bus stops. But because we use it all the time, but right click, you actually could put the words and the phrase and the function. So we moved toward that direction because your feedback, all of you said you have too many. We actually used to have. Remember how many? We actually have a sheet of paper of all those buttons. And do you remember that, Stephanie? If you had with Pro, I mean, you literally had to memorize it, and we had tests around it. I don't think we were giving away Apple Watches on who knew the most of what each buttons did, but that's what we did.
Just going back to.
I still have that.
You still have the cheat sheet?
I think so.
You can have a burning party for that if you want to take all those sheets and bring it.
It's gonna be worth some money one day. Don't burn it.
An NFT, maybe we can make NFTs out of those icons. Well, Tony just got done saying the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I think this change came as a result of the feedback of saying,
absolutely,
this is one of the changes we need. You also mentioned, Stephanie, just it being very intuitive, very user-friendly. Plus,
absolutely.
Can you give me an illustration a little bit of how that has worked for you?
Well, Larry will get into it a little bit more in the next piece, but when we were looking at consolidating some routes, being able to have all of those routes open at the same time and being able to drag stops from one route to the other, have the software optimize the routing, the route that they would drive, and seeing how that would fit into a consolidated route was just
great.
a lot better than the way it is done in Pro, in my opinion.
Larry, one of the things you said, you just love the fact that it's internet based, and you said it in terms of access from anywhere. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, and you know, anybody in the transportation, you always walk into a meeting and the superintendent or you know, you're the leader of the school district, whatever that may be, he always says, you know, hey, can we do this? Can we try this? You know, what can happen if we change a bell time? You know, and that information is, you know, readily available to you. You know, we used to in Pro, you know, our tech department could, you know, remote desktop, you know, us in there and all that kind of good stuff. But it was, you know, getting it to work on a consistent basis was a struggle. With it being internet based, it's very simple.
And then you mentioned specifically to me that you had to cut significant, you had a 10 driver shortage, and tell me a little bit about how you were able to mitigate some of that impact.
So we're kind of a unique school district in New York. We're made up of 4 different contractors. And one of the contractors called us, you know, a couple weeks before school started and said, we're 10 drivers short. So, you know, we quickly got into Plus, started looking at bus runs, you know, did some optimization and, you know, how can we consolidate? And then, you know, we were able to, you know, take some of those suggestions, mold them a little bit, you know, for us and for our school district. And we were able to eliminate 5 bus runs. And it was pretty seamless, you know, with the communication piece with parents and so forth. Most parents didn't even know that we had eliminated those bus runs, just because we were able to, you know, keep ride times very similar and keep load counts very similar to what they were. But we did it with, you know, 5 less buses.
That's great. Now, Larry, you mentioned that optimization was great, but you also said that you did use institutional knowledge as well. You almost were apologizing to me saying, well, we did make some alterations to the optimization. I said that you don't need to apologize for that because we believe that you guys are the geniuses and we want to be the tool to help you. So tell me a little bit about just you used optimization, but you also made some slight changes. And that's okay, right, Tony?
Completely fine.
Yeah, the optimization was, you know, that was our starting point. You know, and it was a wonderful starting point to say, okay, this is what we can accomplish, but this piece of that route isn't going to work well, and we can improve it by what we know from within our own school district, you know, of making that right-hand turn instead of left-hand turn at 8 o'clock in the morning because the traffic's, you know, pretty heavy. So we could make you know, we could make those minor adjustments and still, you know, and do that quickly.
That's perfect. Well, we talk about the value of the institutional knowledge. We want to come alongside you and give you the tools you need. Well, Stephanie and Larry, thank you so much for your time. I know you guys are going to hang on. Tony, again, he may call on you, who knows? But thank you again so much for joining us today and our special birthday party.
Thank you.
Zach, you can advance the slide here. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so I'm going to turn it over to Zach and Tony now and tell you all the massive changes that have taken place with Plus since its first birthday. Take it away.
That's right. All right.
For sure. Before we jump into, you know, all the new stuff we have coming out, which is going to be exciting with Plus 3.0, we're just taking a look back in the past year because there's been a ton of releases, a ton of improvements that have happened since Plus first came out. You know, trying to limit this list down, Tony, you and I looked at it and there's a lot of things to pick from, but, you know, tried to grab some of the big ones, the ones that we felt like really impacted what people's workflow was.
We could literally spend all day long on what we did in that version, right? We obviously could do that, but we clearly want to talk about what's the new one. But what's nice about it's additive, it's and there's more. And that's really, but we do want to remind where we've been. Obviously, it is the second birthday. It's version 3.0 that we're going to be releasing Saturday night. So everyone's got Plus on Monday morning. We'll have a brand new version. It's already a handful of our clients are already using 3.0, but Saturday morning we're going to have our team is going to spend probably all day long. I think we have a few hundred at this point. I always keep asking how many servers do we have out there. It's like hundreds, Tony. Like, don't worry about the numbers. Like, all right, I guess it's a moving target, but yeah. But let's talk about 2.0 before we jump to 3.0. Go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the big ones, obviously, was the release of Form-Finder, right? Form-Finder here too is a hard thing to describe because it's not one thing. Like a lot of the tools in our software, it's user customizable, right? So the ability to create forms that captures whatever information you need from your organization. And so we've seen all kinds of uses for Form-Finder, right? We have people using these for student discipline form, for capturing time, for capturing camera information, for capturing all kinds of different pieces. And again, it's really speaks to the kind of enterprise level software that we hope to make Plus here, right? The ability for districts to build what they need for their use that they have locally there, right?
Hey, listen, there's a question out there that someone is actually saying, hey, we don't have Plus. It's okay. We definitely have a migration path for our clients that do have Pro. You could go from Pro to Plus, all that data that you have in your Routefinder Pro. We keep that, all that information. I'm going to say every feature you have in Pro should be in Plus. So I just want to let you know that, if you have Pro right now, it's like, what am I in a wrong meeting here? I don't have Plus. Well, it's a matter of time you're all going to get Plus. So therefore, hang in there. If you have some questions about, hey, what's going on with I have Pro right now. What do I do to go to Plus? So please make sure, hang in there. I could tell that someone says, hey, I don't have this, but what do I do? So let's talk about, maybe offline. What does that mean for you to upgrade? Just to let you know, you don't lose anything you've done in Pro. You just gain so much in Plus. Again, look at this. So Plus 2.0 came with additional product with Form-Finder. This is a product that, again, if you have Plus already, you're like, all right, that's kind of cool. You'll see what happened in 3.0 and Form. So I just want to tell you, there's a bunch of things that what Plus has that Pro doesn't have. And listen, we still love Pro. It's our teenager that's went to college and got married, probably has some kids right now by now, which is great. We still love Pro, but Plus is our future, of course.
That's a big one. Another one we want to bring up is the return of exceptions. And I think this really speaks to what you're talking about earlier, right? That a lot of our changes and our updates are things that are driven by our clients, right? What we hear from the industry that people need. Exceptions was something people really utilized in our older Pro software, our legacy software. And they said, it's got to exist here in Plus as well. And, we listened and brought exceptions back so that people could still assign students to multiple trips for the same day as needed, right? It gives a lot more flexibility when routing there.
Hey, Zach, you're frozen a little bit, which you still look good. If you're going to be frozen, you'd rather be frozen with your mouth's not open and looking funny. So actually, good frozen spot. I mean, everyone's got that image when you're frozen and you look like the worst thing. So Zach, you look good in that way. No, I think he's toggling back and forth. So Zach, are you still with us?
I'll give it a try. Can you hear me still, Tony?
You could definitely hear, again, your frozen picture looked great. It's almost like you can't pick a better frozen picture. But go ahead, Zach.
All right, well, I'll keep talking. I'll try to get my camera back on here.
No problem.
See if I can turn it off and on again, right? That fixes most IT problems.
Sometime it's the 3-finger salute back in DOS. You do Control-Alt-Delete. All right, go ahead.
All right, we'll kind of keep going through our list here. Another big one we wanted to talk about was bringing in attendance tracking, right? The ability to track attendance. Districts are doing this all different ways, right? Whether they're manually keeping track of kids, whether they're getting a snapshot for the school year, measuring for a week, or we have some clients every day, kids are swiping on and off the bus, and we've really brought in a ton of functionality so that you can easily pull and report on this information. Or for some districts, they need to be able to look this up in real time. They need to have a grid and say, hey, when and where did these kids swipe on the bus? And I know this is Plus, but obviously this integrates in with our whole platform, the ability for parents to be able to see that information, for drivers to capture it on the bus. So really speaks to kind of the all-in-one solution we're offering, right? Keep going through. Plus has all kinds of new features, but one I feel like gets talked about too little is the ability to integrate live traffic. This is possible because of the maps we use, right? Using our Esri map platform where, districts have full control to edit streets and add travel scenarios. Bring in these map layers like live traffic is a really nice feature. So for anyone that doesn't know out there, this came out last year. This was the ability to overlay with live traffic. So as you're routing, you could see, hey, there's construction in this area. Hey, in the morning, this area gets backed up. Maybe we should reroute around it. Live traffic is just a button you can toggle on and off as you're kind of routing within the routing map there. Tony, any ones that I'm missing here before I get into the last couple here are deviating a little bit away from Plus, but again, that's what happens when you have an all-in-one platform. Any big Plus ones you could think of?
Well, I think the big part is that, yes, these are specific. Obviously, FormFinder is a product that works. It's almost like a partner with Plus, that you could build these forms and then you could do things with these forms, such as discipline forms, and some clients that don't have those digital devices that you could do pre and post inspections, you could actually use FormFinder to do those things. So there's so many other things, and you're going to hear a lot about FormFinder. But yeah, just because maybe we're not talking about the routing product, we're talking about everything. So you're going to hear a lot about Transfinder, how we are adding more products, but it's a foundation. Without Plus, you don't get the benefit from the other products. So yeah, you got Viewfinder, StopFinder. You're going to hear about Wayfinder. You're going to hear, remember, we're the Finder company. So you're going to have a lot of products that end with the FI and DER. That's just how we are. But keep going, Zach.
That's it. Yeah, so some other updates there are how Routefinder Plus does integrate in with our other products. So we've talked about the right-click menu. Built into the right-click menu for our grids now is the ability to open information in other products, right? So we've got our Viewfinder product. This is an unlimited user lookup tool, so anyone in your district can see that transportation information. Right from Plus, I can right-click and open that information from Plus into Viewfinder. Same with our StopFinder admin. So if I've got a list of students that I need to send communication to their parents, I can go right from Plus, right-click, and jump right into my StopFinder tool so that I can start sending out communication to parents. It'll ping them right there on the parent application. So again, it's that seamless integration. These are big updates that we made in the past year for how Plus works and also integrates there with the full solution.
That's right. And really the value of that is that because we have a lot of products, it sounds like, oh man, how am I going to learn all these products? Well, the advantage is that we're giving you tools that you go from one product to another with just a right-click menu. And what's nice about it, if you're working with 30 kids, well, let me work with those same 30 kids in another product without going through all that filters and so forth. So this is a big platform change that you'll see where we're going with that next in 3.0, that we even went a whole nother level with that part, because now we really are shifting. Data is powerful, but how you manipulate it, how you look at it, how to view it, how you update is such an important part of any product. We want to make it as simple as possible, so you'll hear a lot about this.
And our last one is, again, when we look at our full suite, we made a ton of changes to some of our other products like StopFinder and Wayfinder, specific to just our Plus users. So StopFinder and Wayfinder have all kinds of functionality, but they really require the power of Plus to be able to get the full functionality out of them. And so we see that with StopFinder now has attendance tracking. So as students swipe on and off a bus, you can be letting parents know, hey, this is where your student swiped on. We integrated in forms with our StopFinder here as well. And Wayfinder's got all kinds of great functionality to make it really a full replacement for a route sheet. So drivers now, when they're driving with Wayfinder tied to Routefinder Plus, you can see information about a student. You can tap on a student card and see, do they have any medical needs? Can I have a parent phone number? All of that's available to the driver on the bus when you tie Wayfinder to Routefinder Plus. So again, Routefinder Plus has had a ton of updates to the functionality, the routing, but also how it works with our full suite of products, because that's what we hear from transportation departments. You need everything to work seamlessly. You need all of it to be in sync, all of it up to date, right?
So I have a question out here saying, somebody asked, can this be used in the same district by multiple users? For instance, if we use this program, can a dispatcher use it as well with the initial purchase? So Plus is, definitely Plus could have, it's user-based, so you could get as many users that you need. But what we recommend is, I would think that the dispatching team would actually use Viewfinder. And Viewfinder is probably a better product to use in that case, and that's unlimited. And at that point, it's not user-based. But Plus really more for the routing and the planning and all that stuff in there. So I just want to tell you. So I think it's. I hope I answered that question. But please, let's follow up and we'll go from there. There's more questions, but let's go on to. Let's keep going. Zach, obviously, Wayfinder. That's what I tell you, Stop Finder, Wayfinder. And I don't think anyone's asked that because obviously we do have pro users out there. So thank you for being loyal clients for this many years, of course. Viewfinder, Stop Finder, and Wayfinder. Those are 3 products that definitely work with Pro also. So just to keep that in mind. All right, I think let's keep going, and I'll look at if there's any questions.
Yeah, before we kind of roll into the next section, because we do have some trivia, another question I'd call out is, where can we get training on this kind of stuff? So I think the answer we have in there, community is a great resource. Definitely want to shout out that Wednesdays we have an open Q&A webinar. It's open to any of our clients to be able to join, ask questions about features, functionality, anything that you're hitting a roadblock on. So that's something that we hold all year round that clients can come join. Cool. Any other thoughts before we jump in? I think I'll turn things to Rick to jump into a trivia piece we have next.
Wow, that's so many things. I can't believe it. And I know that is just the tip of the iceberg. They really had a hard time trying to, like, how do we get this down to a manageable list to get through? So what an awesome year of growth for little Routefinder PLUS. He's really grown, or she grown very quickly. All right, so move on to we have a quick trivia question here for you. Reminder that you need to use the question and answer place to put your answer. Here's the question. What was the original name of Transfinder's routing solution? Was it A, best routes or routes? Do you say route or route? Tony, what do you say, route or route?
I like routes.
Routes, okay. I had a paper route, but bus route, I don't know. Anyway, B, RouteWiz, C, Transfinder, or D, Street View. Lock in your answers.
Good one.
And the answer is, next slide. Did people punch in their answers?
Oh, wow, they're really going nuts here. They're
is there a popular one? Maybe we could steal one of these for something down the road.
Good. There's a Street View. I love it. RouteWiz, like that one. There's also Street View. So it looks like there's definitely some.
Okay.
Nobody did A. Oh yeah, there's somebody that did A.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely did A.
I mean, I would say that we have the best routes, but
I love it. I love where your head's at. How's that?
Are we ready to see the answer? I still see the answer here.
But the majority, I got to tell you, majority has it correct.
All right. Transfinder. Tony, you want to just give a quick little history lesson?
Well, let me tell you though, Transfinder is right, but when we came out with Transfinder for Windows, the same thing we have right now, right? We had Transfinder for Windows, but before Transfinder for Windows, we had Transfinder for DOS. DOS. It's the Microsoft Disk Operating System. So yeah, it's DOS. So then we went to Transfinder for Windows. But then we rebranded. When I became 100% owner of Transfinder in 2000, I felt like that was our brand. And now, my whole vision, it was we want to create a lot of finders, like the X, X being in, put whatever you want into finders. So we then rebranded the company. Let's call it company Transfinder, because that's really what made Transfinder. And now it's called Routefinder. Obviously, same thing, right? Routefinder Pro became the Windows product, and now Routefinder Plus became the browser product. And who knows what's next or what's after browser? Let's face it, technology companies better keep adjusting. So yeah, hopefully that's a
great answer.
Right? Good
Yeah,
things.
Excellent. Yeah.
And I got some questions, by the way. Some of you, I'm monitoring the questions. I have some more things. I didn't forget about you. We're going to get to your questions.
We have a window. Go ahead. You want to take one? We got about a minute. If you want to grab.
Well, there was one right here, and it's a good one, saying about this new update. You want some exporting, some map exports, and we know that we had a minimal number of things you could export. So now we'll have some things are going to be in an upcoming, not this release coming right now, but we have another one coming out before summer, and it's hopefully it stays in that release, but it's part of the KML. I think that's what you're talking about. So that is in there. A lot of people are printing still, plotting routes and all that. So yeah, I think we're getting better and better on that. How can we print that kind of stuff? How can we make a map look really nice on a big sheet? So we're going to get there. And obviously you're looking at, hey, I could do this in Pro. Why can I do this in Plus? It's a little bit different technology, Windows and a browser, a lot different. So we're just trying to figure things out. The overlaying of map boundary of the school boundaries on a routing palette. Very good. You were gonna do some amazing things coming up, so you can see that coming. And then the last one's my favorite. In Viewfinder, you had this beautiful planned versus actual, and it's not in Plus, but guess what? It's in Plus coming this weekend. So that's a big one. It's called dashboards. And again, I don't want to get too much into the dashboards. That is another massive feature that we are going to be slowly releasing that feature to clients. Not everyone's going to get that feature Monday morning. Please let your account executive, your trainer, your project manager say, why turn that thing on? Because I want to play with it. So please get it in there because it's such a big feature. If we turn it on for everybody Monday morning, they're going to go, I want to play with it. So we're actually going to just trickle it based on first come, first serve. You have it. It's part of the product, but man, that's a good question. So I hope I answer your question there.
Excellent.
Right? And again, I'll keep looking at some other
That's
questions.
great. Absolutely. No, that's perfect. That's perfect. Well, it's my pleasure to welcome our next testimony, one of our client who is going to share. She did not have Pro, right? Ginger, you wanted to hop on camera here. Ginger, when we talk about Pro and all the changes that we had, she doesn't know what we're talking about because she got to go right. She had right-click menu right from the very beginning. So thanks so much. You're coming all the way from Washington, and we really appreciate you joining us. Tell me a little bit about your first year using Plus.
So this is our first year, and we started with Plus, like you said, and I found it very easy to use. And my favorite part of it is the student portion of it. I can click on a student's name, I can look them up, I can look up their parents' phone number. We have a rule over here that we don't drop off a kindergartner without an adult. And so sometimes if their bus is missing kids or running late or running early, we don't have a parent at that stop, and I can just click on there and call that parent and get them right out there. Another thing that it was good for is because of COVID, we had to have seating charts for if someone was quarantined or exposed. And a lot of the drivers, you only get to hear the kids that get your attention. You only know their names. You don't necessarily know all of the kids' names on your bus. So I printed off the attendance list per stop for each driver, and then that let them get to know their kids a little bit more. And then we could take off the ones that don't hardly ever ride. And then we also learned too, well, they would have a student at a stop that I would have them because the way I shaped the stop, they're like, well, they actually get on at this stop. So then I could just go in and pop in and reshape the stop and move those students. So I really like it. The student portion of it is my favorite.
What's that?
The student portion of it is my favorite.
That's awesome. I was going to say, when you mentioned the drivers getting to know the students, unfortunately, all my school bus drivers knew my name way too well for not good reasons, but I digress. You are also in the midst of implementing Stopfinder. And while I was talking about Plus, these things all work seamlessly. So that's going to help you in terms of keeping communication with your parents as well. They can tell me a little bit about that goal, what your goal is with Stopfinder.
Well, my goal is I want to eliminate district office from having to send out messages to the parents. I want to just be able to send them out myself. I'm still trying to lock down the details on that so I don't sound out a mass message that is wrong to all the parents and embarrass myself. So I'm making sure I lock down all those little details before we get going on that. But we're almost there.
And our team will walk you through all of that. We have a whole system. One thing about Transfinder, it's very systematic. We have a method to everything, best practices. So I'm sure they will help you with all of that. You also talked about wanting to, with substitute drivers, you can't really print out the sheets. You said it'd be way too much paper. And I know that you said you're also looking at getting Wayfinder, the driver app. And again, while we're talking about Plus, all these things work together.
Right. Yes, we are in the midst of our tech department is talking to your tech department, and we are getting ordering the tablets and getting the stands for the tablets to have on the buses for the drivers and get all of the routes in there. So hopefully that'll eliminate the paper.
Great.
Or the
and I just want to make sure you also were able to you have a driver shortage issue too. You were able to reduce consolidate routes as well.
Yes. This summer when I was putting the routes in there, I had some of them that overlapped, and I was able to eliminate one whole route. We only have 15 routes. We're a small district. So if we have 1 or 2 people gone, it's devastating. And I'm driving, our mechanic's driving, and we're doing what we can. So we consolidated a route. We're working on a plan to see when we're short 1 driver or 2 drivers or 3 drivers and see how we can consolidate that.
That's great. Ginger, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Thanks for sharing your story. Well, I'm sure I'll follow up with you again once Wayfinder and StopFinder come into play. And last but not least, I'd like to welcome Butch Sargent to the program. Butch is with Jasper City Schools in Alabama, so we go all the way down to Alabama as well. We really covered the entire map today. Butch, you have an interesting story as well. You know, you didn't have this job. You had another. Tell me a little bit about your role. You had COVID, came back. All of a sudden, you have another job title.
Well, basically, what happened was I did have a job, and I still have every one of those jobs. Nothing changed other than transportation was added, but I'm director of operations. I also have a law degree and everything legal, human resource, anything contract related with maintenance and things of that nature. I'm the one that handles every bit of that. My wife called one day and she is in a different system, and she said that she had been exposed. They sent her to be tested, and sure enough, she had it. She called me, and that meant that I had to leave immediately. So between the two of us, we were out for 2 weeks, and then when I came back, there was no transportation director. But because I had driven a bus in high school, and they did allow that way back in the day, but I had driven a bus in high school and I was the most qualified. So
there you
here
go.
I sit, right here in front of you.
And one of the first things you did was you upgraded from Pro to Plus. You jumped right on that.
Yes. Well, unfortunately, at the time that I came in, it was payroll time, and payroll was awful to begin with because we did not know who did what. I did not know how the former person did everything. The only thing that I was told is that everything was in Routefinder Pro. We looked at it, but the only thing that had been done to it is they booked field trips in it. And then they brought pieces of paper back, and then somebody had to manually enter the mileage and the time that each driver did with that. And it generated a spreadsheet that they sent to payroll, and then payroll then did that. That did not serve my needs. I did not have any idea where the bus went, didn't know how to do anything. I called you guys, and I was told that there was a new product out there that was a little bit more user friendly. I was told that we could make it work as best as possible, and that eventually the ultimate goal was to be on Plus anyway. So I made the call that we just go ahead and ditch Pro and go with Plus. So that's.
You said no looking back.
Well, there's really no looking back because I only turned on Pro once or twice to figure out that I didn't know how to get the information out of it. And I will tell you that the information that was in it was so cumbersome to me, not having known anything, that it was just impossible to do. But once it rolled over into Plus, having a basic knowledge of how to navigate the internet, I could pull things up. I could see things that I could not otherwise see in Pro.
A couple quick things I want to get to. You have been able to consolidate routes as well.
Yes. There were a few days that we had people that were sent home for COVID as well. We had nobody to cover routes. It was an impossible task. Now, we don't contract. Everybody we have is in-house. So even my substitutes are employees. But there were no substitutes. None. Zero. But we've had a couple of drivers to be out on the same day with COVID, and we had to make some quick adjustments. I was just able to go in and graphically look at everything in the map version. I was able to draw a circle around the area that I needed covered, and I was able to move those students into buses that were nearby. And then I was able to print out the route along with the students and the contact information should anything happen, and give it to the drivers that were in the neighborhood. And then it told them turn by turn where to go and how to get there.
Awesome. Hey, Bruce, we're running out of time, but I would be remiss if I didn't let you say, Tony needs to hear from your lips, Form Finder. You got to hear his excitement about Form Finder.
Cool.
Tell me all about how you use Form Finder and your thoughts on it.
We use it for several different reasons. The biggest thing that we use it for is field trips. Our drivers log onto it. They actually put in their beginning and end mileage, beginning and ending time. Everything is in live time. I'm able to see their payroll. So if I have a minute, I'm able to do it. But for the most part, it calculates everything for me. I'm able to print out a report, send it to payroll, and I don't even have to do anything other than to verify that we did not make a typo. We use it for other things. We use it for their payroll from day to day. They clock in, they clock out using their Form Finder. We have community agencies that are out there that we've given access to, and they're people that communicate with the community, especially our Spanish-speaking friends, who otherwise would not be able to communicate in a hurry with us. And they're able to go to these community agencies and look at it, and they're able to communicate with us through a form, telling us what needs to happen and asking if there's any help that we can provide for that. So
That's great.
we're able to do that.
He has got, it's on STN website. It's also on our homepage, transfinder.com, Bruce's story. There's so much I could get to. Bruce tells about when he gets a street closure, how he went into Plus and was able to see that it basically rerouted all the kids automatically. You get information from police departments sometimes when you need to close a block off, and it's all been super helpful, it sounds like.
Absolutely. I can even use the GPS and do turn by turn and tell the driver, okay, you need to turn left here. You're approaching a stop. You need to stop.
Right.
If I use the street view, I can even tell them that they're at the correct house.
That's right.
Very good.
Butch,
Thank you.
You'll see there's so much more. We're just about to announce that you're going to see on Monday morning. So it's even more coming. So
Okay. So
get your seatbelt on. Get your seat. Go ahead.
Instead of trickling the rollout out, the panelists should have first priority.
No. Listen, everyone's going to get it. The only thing we're going to be trickling is there's actually two products, and we'll talk about it. One of this functionality is called dashboards. Everyone's going to get it. But we're turning a couple things off just because it's so massive. One of them is called dashboard, and another product that we'll talk about in the next few minutes. But please, we'll make sure you get it right away, because
Absolutely.
There's a couple things here. There's a couple questions, some feedback. Can I?
Sure. Thank
bring
you
some
so much, Bruce. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Yes.
Butch.
Okay,
a couple things
cool.
that I've noticed that some people are saying here, saying webinar on Wednesdays, they love it. So thank you, it's helpful. There's another good one right here, and we get asked this all the time. Does Transfinder have any plans to move to a subscription-based software instead of license? We have a lot of products that's all based on subscriptions, such as Viewfinder, StopFinder, and you'll see there's a lot of products like Form Finder, but specifically for Plus, because of our royalty, because of a lot of different things, it doesn't make sense. We're going to still keep it user by user. At this point, we don't have any plans to move off that, but we are definitely making a lot of things. And if you tell me I've got one or two more to go, I can. If not, I could come back. All right, I'll come back and do more, because I have a bunch of things here that people are giving comments, got questions, all that good stuff.
Great. It's so hard to fit all this in. We always want to try to keep it as an hour, but
Right.
so we got another quick trivia We don't have a trivia question. Okay.
Not ready.
That's next. After you guys, take it away.
Yes.
Sounds good. Well, cool. Yeah, I wanted to jump back on, and we talked a little bit about, looking at Routefinder Plus in review. We want to talk about the future. Tony's been talking about Monday and the new update. So again, we had to whittle down because there's so many features coming out in this this new update people are going to be excited about, but wanted to hit a few of the top line ones here. So a few things I'm going to talk about are changes to Form Finder. We're going to have public forms coming out. We'll take a look at what that means, what that looks like. A new functionality, a new data type, which we call routes. That's going to allow you to put multiple trips together, easily make substitutions. So routes is going to be a new feature there. GPS Connect, tons of changes. We've done a full overhaul, which is now giving you a real insight into comparative analysis, right? Tying up your GPS data in your planned route information. Big update coming here. Of course, dashboards. Tony, I feel like you've mentioned dashboards at least a dozen times. It's a huge one, so we'll take a look at what that means and wrap up with Chat Finder. Only a few minutes left, so we'll kind of touch on each one of these quickly, and Tony, I'm sure you'll have some flavor and insight to add for each here. So I'll jump into, first one I want to mention is public forms. So we talked about how last year we launched Form Finder. I've heard some great use cases. I love hearing Butch talk about how he's capturing timekeeping and payroll with it. He's capturing all kinds of different things because they are fully customizable. What we're rolling out now is tons of new functionality with our forms, including the ability to build public forms. So previously, Form Finder was something that you could run internally with your drivers, your staff. Now you can make forms public so you can actually communicate with your community. So you can create a public form and share that with the community through a QR code, which you'll see us doing later in the webinar here. You could share a URL that you can put right up on your website, and you can start capturing data and feedback from your community. And again, these are customizable. So, the use cases we are going to hear from you guys are going to blow us away. But immediately I could think of, doing surveys with your community. You can do transportation requests or changes with your community. All kinds of things that you could start capturing. And again, this all feeds right back into that Routefinder Plus platform, right?
And I'll tell you, and Butch, you're just talking about Form Finder. There's this new version of Form Finder that comes with Plus. There's so many other different type of questions now you could ask. Some of them are now map specific questions. And how cool is that, right? So you actually could have a question, not a yes, no, or pick the following checkbox or radar button, but you literally could actually ask a question that it's a map specific. They could put a dot or circle or something. Can you imagine giving that to the police department that they actually could fill out a form and say, this is the road's going to be closed. And now at this point, you have that information, right? We have so many different use cases here for Form Finder. Again, I know we're running out of time here, but we could go on and on and on about this product.
Yeah, I think the public forums is going to be a big change. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like Tony said, there's new questions that can be asked, custom thank you pages. You can have start and end dates for your form. So you're going to see big changes.
Somebody just said, wow, great. Transportation forms on that, no more Google Forms. Yes, if you have Google Forms on your website, you don't need to do that anymore, because the whole idea of, they're nice, but why have a Google form that's all of a sudden outside? I know it's zero cost for Google Forms, but so is Form Finder. So get rid of those forms. And what's nice about it, now they're going to be in your data. You don't have to go find and start fat fingering back into your system. It'll be right in Plus. So yeah, awesome. No more Google Forms. Good point.
That's it.
Go ahead.
And keep in mind, one last throw that I'd mention here with Form Finder is that all these forms tie into our Wayfinder tablet as well. So if you're capturing data from a driver, you've got a tablet there in your vehicle, they could be filling these forms out right from a tablet in a vehicle too. So
one of my cool feature about this, again, it's something that we've expanded, that you could now form, but we could limit when a form could be submitted. You could literally just draw a region saying it have to be within that region in order to submit a form, or it's not valid. They can't submit it. So there's just so many cool things. Again, please go to community, talk to your project manager, and find out one more things about Form Finder, because this is a whole nother product. And guess what, Rick? It comes with Plus. It's part of it. We're not charging anything. So I have so many questions and comments. Maybe I'll get a chance to talk about it. Keep going, Zach.
I'll keep rolling, but I have a feeling that clients like Butch that are already using Form Finder extensively, when they log in Monday morning and they see all the new features, I think they're going to be excited.
They're going to
Another big
lose
one that another big one I want to touch on is this concept of routes, right? And most of our clients are running routes now, right? Routes are made up of multiple trips. Maybe you do a multi-tier system with 2 tiers or 3 tiers where your bus drivers go out for the elementary school and then they go out again for the middle school, then the high school, and you have each of those broken up as a separate trip, but you want to tie them together. And now routes is going to allow you to do that. So I can put all my trips into one route. And what this allows me to do is I can do things so much quicker. So if I need to substitute a bus driver, I don't want to go through for the elementary tier and the high school tier and the middle school tier. I just want to change that bus driver one time and have that change take effect to all of my routes, AM, PM, and have that take place. So routes is going to allow you to do that. You can assign all of your trips to the route and then just substitute resources on the fly there.
And this has been a feature request for many years, Zach, and I think you'll hear a lot more. What does this mean? What does routes do for us? Is that we could do a lot more than with routes. Now with full optimization, routes is the missing link that really ties everything together, such as tiering and all that. So stay tuned for what we're going to be doing now with routes. If you're navigating the entire day. A lot going on. We could spend so much, but I love that little image. Explain to everybody what this is. This is one of my favorite feature. By the way, someone asked me what's my most favorite feature that's going out this weekend. There's no way I can tell you what is my favorite, because I think many of you know I am part of the design and product management team. We get in war rooms and we talk about what features are going to come out. I'm hands-on with that kind of stuff, but there's no way I could tell you my favorite, because it's like having 5 kids and I can't tell you which my son or daughter is more favorite. If I ask my mom, she can't do it, but if I ask my sister, I'm sure she's going to probably say what my mom will say is her favorite kid. And I think my sister thinks I'm her favorite, but it's okay. Go on. So let's talk about that little.
We had to pick a
screen
favorite.
item.
This is pretty up there for me. So
I can't pick a favorite. I can't.
our clients are going to see this right away. So Monday morning, when they get into the routing palette, they're going to see this new functionality in the routing palette, which is calculating layover time. And this is for those clients that have multiple tiers for their routes. And what this does is it looks at each leg of your trip. So if I have one vehicle that has to do the elementary school, then they go to do the middle school, then the high school, this is calculating how much time do I have between each of those tiers. And so
this is huge functionality, and honestly, we could go on and on in it, but look for what this means as you make your changes to your stop. You add more stops, you change things to this trip. That layover time is going to keep adjusting. And if you're negative, means you can't make it. We have tons of analogy. What does that mean when there's layover is part of the concept when we're in an airport. Well, layover time is just really what time you arrive and what time the other one leaves. They didn't calculate you walk into the other gate, or sometime you have to go completely across the airport. So our layover time is not just the time difference. We also calculate the delta, how long it takes the vehicle to get to from point A to point B, the last stop on the last trip and the first stop to the next trip. So layover time is very accurate based on what you're using. So again, please give us some feedback on layover times.
And I know I see these questions coming in, but I want to make sure I get through this information as we talk about it here. A big, huge change is our brand new GPS Connect, which is bringing in that GPS information from your different GPS vendors, right? We're agnostic when it comes to GPS data. Bring it into us. We'll make it work with our system here. But our new system is really going to be doing the work on the back end to line up your GPS information with your planned information, and you'll start seeing that light up for you to be able to tell you when are your vehicles showing up late to bus stops, when are they showing up early, when are they making planned and unplanned stops. And so we're going to have all that information easily accessible now in your grids. You're going to see it in GPS event grids. You're going to see it in trip stop grids. You're going to see it in student schedule grids. So a lot of places you'll be able to see this information. Obviously, this is going to lead into having reports and all that pieces that
and
clients
dashboards, of course, and dashboards. But I don't have a favorite though, Rick. And dashboards.
So GPS Connect and bringing that in with comparative analysis, huge upgrade there.
Massive.
Right? Dashboards, had to make sure to touch on it. Tony, you've talked about how this is not getting turned on right away, and because it is something that clients are going to need to build these dashboards, and we'll work with them to figure out what information they need. You know, eventually we're going to have a library of these that we're able to share out with clients, but day one, it's so customizable. You know, they're not turned on for everyone. So really, we want to be able to work with clients that want to start utilizing these dashboards. But this is where you're going to get those views to be able to see grids of information, maps, tiles that are telling you pieces of information. You can have websites in here, notes. There's so much that you can put into a dashboard, really customizable to whatever it is that you need. And people may be using different dashboards, right? There may be a dispatcher dashboard, a secretary, the TD has a dashboard. You know, there's a lot of uses that we're going to see here with this.
Yeah, and so where you're building a dashboard, it's called a canvas, but you could have an unlimited number of, and really you could call it a dashboard. It also could just be a workspace that you could literally, as a dispatch, you create their views, and you could literally say, I could change, as I change things, my data updates. There's things in this interface that we broke a whole nother level what we did with grids and how we have pie charts that literally, as you make changes on one, we call it these things widgets, that the pie chart updates live with you. So there's it's a whole it's almost like a workspace. It's just like this is, like you say here, but we are rolling this out to selected clients. Please just tell us you want it. We'll just turn it on. The reason why, because we know as Transfinder, we're gonna get bombarded, and maybe it's a little bit of a lame excuse, like why did you not turn it on? Because everyone's been asking for this. We want to make sure we're gonna be able to meet everyone's needs, so we're gonna turn this on slowly. But please just tell us right now that you want it, and I'm sure that if you click I want it, and we'll make sure that you guys get it.
That's it.
And by the way, doesn't mean we might, every couple of weeks we'll add more clients to this. So I just want to let you know, yep, I see, I want it. So good. Count me in.
That's great. Look, I would not be surprised if we have a full webinar just on dashboards at some point in the future, huh, Tony?
Oh my goodness. I'm sure the Wednesday is going to have tons of these things.
All right, last big feature I wanted to talk about, integration here with Chatfinder. So this is a brand new product, comes attached with Routefinder PLUS. This is a way to be able to communicate directly through the routing platform. So I'm sure people have heard of Slacks, heard of Teams, tools like this. This is a chat functionality that you can have built right into Routefinder PLUS. And so this is a way to be able to share links, files, information securely. So we're gonna, look, we didn't have time to get into all the features today, but within PLUS now, I can get a filtered list, share that through a URL. I could chat it to my teammates, say, hey, we need to call and reach out to all of these kids' parents. Chatfinder is a great way to integrate all that information together. You can have contact lists and groups, and then you can search your history. If you're sharing documents, sharing links, you can pull all that information up. So Chatfinder, full functional chat feature built into Routefinder PLUS.
And a lot of people are saying, what are you guys doing? You're a routing company. What are you doing with a chat product? What are you doing? When we went all in remote on March 13th, 2020, is that the right? My goodness, it's like a long time ago. We lived on product like Teams, which is by Microsoft, an expensive product. It comes with a whole Microsoft 365 that we have. Obviously, we have we made a significant investment, but we know that a lot of you out there don't have a way to actually just send messages, even in your own department. This is a full chat, and it's browser based, which works everywhere. And what you start seeing is that we noticed that, how are you communicating? How are you doing? Are you sharing even shout outs? What's wrong with just having a shout out to, and by the way, your drivers could have access to this. It's unlimited users. Your superintendent, your business manager, literally, this could become the new communication tool that you guys use internally. You could light up as many people as you want, or as few people as you want. If you want, you could even start adding parents in there. I'm not saying you should do that, but it is unlimited users, and it comes with PLUS. I think you guys are going to be super pumped when you see this functionality. Again, I don't have a favorite because it's impossible, but this is up there on one of my favorite.
All right, I know I ran over time. There's too many features. Rick, let you wrap it up here.
Oh, you cannot take the blame for that, Zach. This guy here has no excitement at all, no energy. I'm telling you, it is hard to get it all in. So
I mean,
no.
how do we just do an hour here? I gotta just. I mean, listen. I gotta bring up. I mean, can I get a couple of things in here? Some clean up. People out there still have Pro. I know it. Like, we're gonna continue supporting that right to the last client that's using Pro. We're gonna continue supporting that. We are not selling Pro anymore, but we have a lot of our clients. I don't know what the percentage out there. I don't know, Zach, if you know it. Is it about 50-50 at this point, or is it 60 plus and 40%? I don't know the numbers. We might have actually passed the 50% mark. All I know is based on our support calls, we're about 50-50. So I think it's 50% clients are still in Pro. We're going to support that baby for as long as the last client's still on it.
Well, and I will say, any question that was not addressed here, we are documenting them all, and we will follow up with you. I know that we're trying to answer these as quickly as possible.
There's so many. There's so many.
It is not going into like outer space. It will be addressed. You will get an answer specifically.
Hey, by the way, I got to do this right here because someone said, when will Routefinder Plus be usable on an iPad? Get this. Limited functionality, but you could use it. It actually works. I actually got it to run on my iPhone. Get Chrome, and it's I think it's the option. Zach, what is that thing? Something about desktop? Emulate as a desktop or something?
Yeah, run it in desktop mode.
Run as desktop. It works on an iPad. Yes.
All right.
You gotta get Chrome. So I know I have so many things out here.
Zach, I'm going to go to the next slide. Quick question. We're going to do very quickly again. Go into Q&A, and then we still have that Apple Watch drawing. So please stay to the very end, and then we're going to have some cake, and we'll just wrap up, and you can watch Tony cut the cake here.
Cool.
Tony takes the cake.
I don't know about that.
All right. So here's a trivia question. How many team members does Transfinder currently employ? 63, 93, 103, or 160? Lock in your answers. And next slide, Zach.
We made it way too easy. You know that? We made it way too easy.
I don't know.
We should have made it a little bit harder. I think almost.
No, we got some B's and C's. And
but almost a lot of people.
160. And well, I don't want to say 260. Then they would expect us to be that much bigger.
That's true. That's true.
But we're going to be there. I'm going to tell you, I don't know if you want to give numbers, but I'll tell you, we're growing fast, and it's because of a couple things. Development and support. Development and support. So as we bring more clients on, we got to support them.
We definitely, and we've brought a lot of people. And I want to tell you, just want to also give a shout out to the hiring managers here at Transfinder. We're interviewing at the fastest pace possible that we could do, and also we're bringing a lot of new people. So we're going to try to make sure that our senior clients out there that are using our product saying, hey, what's up with this person? Well, they could have just maybe started 2 months ago. So just to let you know that it's going to happen. Be patient with us. So there's a lot of new people. I think Monday, by the way, 4 service people are starting just next Monday. And I think 2 started this Monday. So I could tell you that I'm trying to myself keep up the names of people.
It's amazing.
And also what's our head count any given moment. So that's changing very fast. So please, please, please give us feedback, but also want to let you know we are bringing on a lot of people. Help is on its way to help all of you. There's a lot of questions. We're getting to the season of being very, very busy, so it's coming.
Well, listen, transfinder.com/careers has all the openings we have. So if you have any friends that you know that are looking as well, they want to work for a top-notch company, send them to transfinder.com/careers. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for before Tony cuts the cake, that's the moment we're really all waiting for. The winner of the Apple Watch is, and I'm going to give his quote first, so he'll know between him and me, and then I'll say his full name. His quote recently was, "You guys are blowing my mind. I am stoked." I love the word stoked. He must be
That's
like
a good one.
We're stoked about the new items. And the winner is Anthony Mendoza. This is yours.
Wow.
Coming in the mail to you. So congratulations, Anthony. That's going to wrap us up. We're going to cut some cake. We're going to have some birthday music, I think, right, John? But we want to thank everybody. If you want to go to the next slide, like I mentioned, we're going to deal with all these questions. That QR code is going to take you to, and I put it everywhere. So we are looking for your thoughts on Plus. We also want your feedback on what are your needs in general. We want to be addressing these. So please take a look at that QR code, and the first 10 people that respond will get a gift card in the mail. So do that right now. You will get an email tomorrow, but you may be out of the running already by then. So I would suggest if you got a couple seconds, you can go to the next slide again, and we'll have that QR code there as well. So again, we just want to thank our panelists for joining us today, Larry, Stephanie, Ginger, and Butch. You know, Butch said something that we didn't get to as well when we talked the other day about community, Transfinder community. He said, I find 90% of what I need. Any questions I have, I can find it on Transfinder community. And he goes, and the 10% I don't find, I go to the live chat. And I go to the live chat, Tony, this is the greatest. He goes, I go to the live chat and somebody usually takes over my computer and fixes my problem. That's what this was designed for. So I want to thank all our panelists. I want to thank all of you for attending today. We know that you're busy. We know you have crazy schedules and a lot of demands on you. So we thank you. Last slide, and then we're going to take the cake. Tony, anything you want to say to close us out?
There's just so much. Please give us some feedback. Tell us all the good, the bad, and ugly. That's how we're going to grow. Again, a lot of effort is going to put here at Transfinder to help all of you to work through your summer. Obviously, there's a lot going on, but summer is where you do all your work. We're here. Please email us, chat with us, call us. There's a lot of avenues here. Attend those webinars. Just do a lot of things. A lot of things are changing here at the product. We're adding tons of functionality, but let's cut the cake. Let's have some fun.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna unplug some stuff here. Hopefully, I don't break things. I'm gonna hold the. Right. So this guy right here. We got some music. I always like music. Let me see myself here. I don't see it. All right. Okay. Turn mine off. Doesn't make much sense. Anyone who takes offense at a day in your celebration, you all know in our minds that there ought to be a time everybody that we can set aside to show just how much we love you, and I'm sure you would agree. What could be more perfectly than to have a world party on the day you came to be? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.